what they were saying, their cheering and their booing, was just going to motivate him more to put on a show.
And here comes Luca making his way to the ring, 32 years of age, 44 fights, 36 wins, 5 losses, 3 draws, and 13 KOs. His last fight, he lost the controversial decision to Marcus Bayer. That was in March of this year. Previous to that, he'd made 3 defences of the world title, so he's been in that situation where he's been defending a world title. He's just got, as we've said so many times throughout our telecast today, he just has that wealth of experience, and you've got to wonder if he can get through that initial onslaught from Danny Green, his chances have got to improve.
Well, that's what he's planning to do. He's planning to weather the storm and wear Danny Green down in a long fight, because Danny Green hasn't been in too many long fights. He hasn't been in grueling 12-rounders, and that's Eric Luca territory. His specialty is long, hard fights where he wears down his opponents, grinds them down. He's not a big puncher like Danny Green, but he's a hurtful puncher. He's a dangerous guy. We just saw him knock out Glenn Catley there, so he can hurt you. And his specialty, though, is wearing opponents down, working on them in close, head on the chest stuff, just working away, body, head, back to the body, wearing his opponents down over 12 rounds. It's interesting, we watched him win that title against Glenn Catley with a pretty spectacular knockout in the 7th round. 2 years earlier, he'd fought Catley and was well ahead on points, but got stopped in the last round when Catley cut loose on him in a desperate surge in the last round. So that's a little bit of a knock against Eric Luca. If Danny Green can put some big punches together, Danny Green's a much better puncher than Glenn Catley. Eric Luca's going to be in trouble because he has been stopped before.
And looking at some fights of note for Eric Luca, he lost a 12-round decision to Fabrice Tiozzo for the WBC light heavyweight title. That was in January of '96. He was knocked out in the 12th round by Roy Jones in June of '96 for the IBF super middleweight title. As a 10-round draw against Antoine Eccles, who Anthony Mundine won the vacant WBA title from earlier this year. Scored a 5th-round KO over Segundo Mercado for the WBC International Super Middleweight title. Of course, knocked out Glenn Catley and made 3 defences of that title. 8th-round KO over Dingan Tobel. I think that's the way you pronounce that.
Dingan Tobel, yeah.
Yeah, a 12-round unanimous decision over Vinny Pazienza. A 12-round unanimous decision over Omar Sheikha, who himself is a pretty good fighter. So there's a lot of experience there for this man, Eric Luca. Yeah, a huge crowd, so much behind him.
All those names you mentioned are all very good opponents, and as we were saying earlier, Eric Luca has fought in the main better opposition than Danny Green over a much longer period than Danny Green. That can either work to his advantage or work against him. I guess Danny Green will be hoping that a lot of those hard fights have taken their toll on Eric Luca, whereas Eric Luca will be hoping that all that experience, all that development he's done against good fighters in hard fights has him primed to survive anything that Danny Green can throw at him. So we're about to see just what transpires, who's right and who's wrong.
And the motivation for both of these men is another shot at that man, Marcus Bayer.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please now rise and join soprano Brian Hirsch for the singing of the national anthem.
sure Eric Luca would be very excited by the national anthem. That always gets a boxer going.
Very much, especially when you've got 20,000 people of his hometown there cheering him on.
Yeah, let's now have a look at the tail of the tape. And the age, well, Danny Green, a young 30 for a boxer. Eric Luca, as having started his professional debut back in 1991, is probably an old 32. The height pretty much the same, although some might suggest that Danny Green is a little bit taller. The reach, well, an advantage there to Danny Green, and that's where he needs to use that jab.
Big long jab, yeah.
And the weight there, pretty similar too. So it's pretty even when you look at them physically.
Very much. I know we've got Danny and Eric Luca's height the same there, but I think Danny may just be slightly taller than Eric Luca. I think he's more like about 185 centimetres. Not that height will really have much bearing on the fight. The reach will be a factor. He's got to use that big left jab of his and keep Eric Luca at bay. But I think, as you mentioned, Matt, the most significant thing is in terms of their age in fight years. Eric Luca's 32, but he's been a professional since 1991. That's 12 years of pretty hard fights. Danny Green was an amateur until 2 years ago, and even though he's really kicked on in the professional ranks, he's only had 2 years of experience. So that's, I think, the most significant factor in this fight, just how Eric Luca's experience will gel with Danny Green's power and explosiveness.
Well, I think you nailed it there when you said about the jab. I think if Danny Green can get that jab going, he does have a beautiful jab, and it's a strong jab.
Yes.
If he can get that set up early, I think he can really dictate and just put those doubts in the back of Luca's mind. He's thinking, well, God, if he's got a jab like this, imagine what it's going to be like if I have to swallow that right hand.
Exactly, yeah, he'll be in for a nice, nasty surprise.
Just going through some of the formalities here. I believe there's a group of international judges for this contest.
Yes, there's 3 neutral judges. They're Ken Morita from Japan, Dan Deville from Belgium, a very experienced judge, and Gail Van Hoy from the United States. And the referee is a Mexican named Guadalupe Garcia. And perhaps the most significant thing, as we look at Danny in the corner there, with his cornerman Angelo Hyder, probably the most significant thing is that WBC president Jose Suleiman is ringside for this fight. He's made a special trip to Montreal because he definitely says that under no circumstances will there be any controversial rulings on this fight. There can be no question about the outcome.
Oh, that's fantastic news, because Jose Suleiman was always such a big fan of Jeff Fennick, and he was always adamant that first fight against Azuma Nelson, that he clearly won that fight. And
that's right.
Jeff has a friend there in Jose Suleiman.
Yes, yeah. Well, just listen to the introduction to Luca. They love him here in Montreal. Listen to that crowd roaring on this guy.
Well, that's got to get him pumped up.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Crowd support.
Massive
Such
support.
an important fight in his career. This is really make or break time for Eric Luca. Danny Green, we don't want him to lose, but if he was to lose, he could rebuild his career. For Luca, a loss would basically be a death wish on him.
That's right. Look at Danny. He's got the Elvis hairdo now. The hair's a lot blacker than I remember it a couple of years ago. And he's giving him the bad look there.
And there goes the handshake from Danny Green. He loves getting that off too, so his opponents can feel his power early. Now we want to get that jab ramming into the face of Eric Luca here in round number 1. Let him taste the power of the Green Machine. Will he have the sort of dream start he had against Marcus Bayer? Here we go for round number 1 of this WBC Interim Super Middleweight Championship bout. Eric Luca versus Danny Green.
Straight away the jab pumping out from Danny. Luca very, very cautious. He knows the power of this guy.
Lucas standing straight in front of Green. That's exactly what he would want. Of course, it still is such early stages of the fight, but Luca is right there to be hit for Danny Green. Nice short left hook there from Luca.
A little bit of a warning there from Eric Luca, yeah. Quick little left hook in close. He's a dangerous guy in close. Danny doesn't want to let him start to dictate the pace.
And I also was quite surprised there with the hand speed that punch was thrown from Luca.
Listen to the crowd in the background chanting, cheering for this guy.
Lucas snapping well with that left hand here in the first.
Only very, very watchful. And he can't afford to let Lucas start to dictate the pace. He's really got to assert himself behind that jab. Starting to do it now. This is where Luca wants to keep the fight in close. This is his fight in close.
Green there just backing into the ropes. I think that little left hook definitely caught his attention there in the opening moments of the fight.
Very composed fighter, Eric Luca. Very strong.
Yeah, he doesn't waste too much energy.
Already Luca starting much better than Marcus Bayer did.
It wouldn't be hard.
Poor Marcus is still feeling that right hand.
Green now looking for the overhand right. Green at this stage just using the left hand as a range finder. Both fighters showed a lot of respect for each other in the build-up to this contest. Which isn't something you often see. Always a lot of trash talking, but mutual respect. Which isn't something you often see. Always a lot of trash talking, but mutual respect. 30 seconds remaining here in the first. Nice work there from
Luca's
Luca.
doing a good job here in the first round.
Came over the top with the right hand and landing with both hands is Eric Luca. Danny Green, though, maintaining his composure. But the Canadian would be encouraged by his work here in the first. Luca there starting to open up as the bell ends the first. The referee barely hearing it above the chants there for Eric Luca.
Good round there for Eric Luca to start this fight. He'd be very much encouraged by that.
Without a doubt. Very composed. Tight punching from him.
Yeah, well,
he was able to grab the attention of Danny Green with his power. Just 13 knockouts and 36 victories. Doesn't, on paper, look like he's a big puncher, but...
he's a hurtful puncher, yeah, that's the thing. He hasn't scored that many knockouts, but he wears his opponents down, getting instructions there from Stefan LaRoche's trainer in the corner.
And you think, in 96, he fought Roy Jones Jr. Jones had problems with him in that fight.
That's right.
Jones had been at a basketball game earlier in the day, but and there's that jab there from Luca. Nice right hand there, had Green there backed against the ropes. And it was really in the opening, perhaps 30 seconds of the fight, where he landed a nice short left hook that you could tell just caught the attention of Danny Green.
Yes. Luca's well aware of the tactics that Danny Green needs to win this fight, and he's not going to let him do it. That's on the evidence of that first round. Danny's got to assert himself more in this round. He's got to get that jab pumping. He can't allow Luca to dictate the pace, because Luca will do this all night, just outwork him and get a points decision. Danny's got to start working that jab.
Circling around the ring, trying to create some angles for himself.
Here the chance of Luca
to set himself too much, as he did in the first.
A chance for Luca. Luca going up already. Only one round gone.
Nice
good
right hand there from Green.
Oh, good left hit there from Eric Luca too.
And he caught Green as he came in. He's out-thinking Danny Green at the moment, Eric Luca.
This is where Danny doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be backed against the ropes and allow this guy to outwork him. He's got to dictate the pace and get Luca going backwards.
But Green's got to believe that that left hand of his is going to offset Luca as he comes in. At this stage, I just feel like he's a little bit tentative.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Matt. He's being too cautious. I mean, the plan was to be cautious in the early stages but he can't allow Luca to get his confidence up.
And he can't allow to get too far behind on the scorecard,
Exactly.
because then desperation comes in and he'll have to score a knockout. But we are still only in the second round. Plenty of time left. Danny Green working his way into this fight at this stage, unlike the Bayer fight, which of course everybody would have seen, where they saw just how dominant he was from the opening bell. This is a different style of fight and a different style of fighter he's up against.
Jeff Fenech screaming at Danny Green there to get off the ropes and assert himself.
Nice jab there from Green. Luca not at all offset. He continues to come forward.
He's a very composed fighter, Eric Luca. He's been in a lot of big fights, big-time fights. There's nothing new for him. He said before this bout that he has the utmost respect for Danny Green.
And Green there again.
Oh, Danny on the canvas. Ruled a slip there by the referee Garcia from Mexico. But he certainly caught a couple before he went down.
Green just looks a little bit stilted in there, doesn't he?
He looks a bit stiff, doesn't he?
I think he's just been surprised at perhaps the power of Luca in the first 2 rounds. Nice right hand there.
Yeah, straight
Luca
through.
There, yeah, with a straight right. Not a great deal on the punch. If there had been, he would have known it. There's no need to panic at this stage.
Still early stages of the fight. But at this stage, he's allowing Eric Luca to dictate the pace, and he shouldn't be. He's got the skills to beat Eric Luca. He just has to commit a little bit more.
The Hurstville Ritz Sports Bar, the Tabs official #1 sports bar in New South Wales, is the #1 sponsor of Australia's #1 super middleweight Danny Green. The Hurstville Ritz, with Translux betting screens, read ratings, stacks of computers, and the Ritz's massive 12-cube sports wall. Its atmosphere wrapped in technology. The Hurstville Ritz Sports Bar, 330 Forest Road, Hurstville, the official #1 tab in New South Wales.
Well, the local fight, Eric Luca, looking very impressive in the first 2 rounds. As we look back there at some of the action, mauling Green there on the inside. That was just a slip. I thought there may have been a nice little short right hand there from Luca that may have upset him a little bit. Green there trying to fight off the ropes. He just needs to get that jab going, though. He's just tentative, something we're not used to seeing from Danny Green. Perhaps the moment just getting to him just a little bit,
well,
which is understandable, of course.
Certainly not a good start to the fight for Danny Green. It is still early days yet, but Paul Miller is watching the fight with us, made a very good observation. Danny's just allowing Eric Luca to have his space. He's allowing Luca to pretty much do what he wants. He needs to be pumping that jab out to bother Eric Luca, keep him off balance. He needs to keep snapping that jab out. He can't allow Eric Luca to keep walking up like this, doing what he wants to do, because Danny will lose the fight on points the way it's going. I know it's still early, it's only 2 rounds gone, but Danny's the one that's got to dominate. He can win this fight with his left hand. He's starting to do it in this round. Jeff Fenech told him in the corner, get that jab going.
Well, he has to create doubt in Luca's mind,
That's
and he
right.
hasn't been able to do that in the first 2 rounds. He's allowed Luca to basically do as he pleases, and he's been able to... I think he's actually stunned Green a couple of times.
Yes, yeah. He certainly stunned him with the speed of his attack and the ferocity of his attack. He's fighting with quicker hands than I've seen from Eric Luca.
It surprises me there, for instance, on the inside, his hand speed.
Yes.
You can tell that it's surprising Danny Green too,
Yes.
because we're used to seeing Danny Green having good hand speed, throwing good combinations. There's Green coming on a little bit.
But you see the composure of Eric Luca too there, just crouching, making him miss, not flustered at all by the power of Danny Green. But Danny's got to keep that left hand in Luca's face, even if not all of them are connecting. So long as he keeps doubt in Luca's mind, he can win this fight with his jab. He's got a beautiful left hand and a beautiful right hand. But he must keep it in Eric Luca's face. But once again, Danny Green back to the ropes. This is exactly where he doesn't want to be.
It's exactly where Luca wants him, where he can maul and brawl him on the inside, work away at the body, throw those short, sharp punches that he's thrown throughout the first 2 rounds.
Very few fighters in the super middleweight division are as adept at outworking a guy in close as Eric Luca, and Danny Green at this stage is still allowing him to do that. He's the one that's... You see Eric Luca moving forward again. Danny Green's got to be the one moving forward behind the left hand.
Also the left hand of Danny Green, you're seeing he's using it more as a range finder rather than setting up the right hand with it.
Yes.
is not offsetting Luca. He knows, oh, well, I can work my way past that jab.
Good right hand there by Danny Green. I know Johnny Lewis, the great trainer of champions, always maintained, even if he was dealing with just novice amateurs, if you can't hit him in the head with a jab to the chest, just hit him in the sternum, hit him anywhere, but just keep him off balance. Good little uppercut by Danny inside there, but again, it's Luca forcing the fight, and this impresses the judges.
He has let his hands go a little bit more here in the third green. Under 30 seconds remaining. It's been a better round for the Australian fighter.
Danny's starting to open up a little bit now.
And Luca, they're not as effective along the race because the doubt's being created in his mind because Green is starting to come back a little bit in the fight. There's the end of round number 3. That's a much tougher round to score, but a much more encouraging round.
Certainly Danny Green would have taken more encouragement from that, but still, Eric Luca came on pretty good in the first part of that round, but the signs are there that Danny's starting to get his confidence up now, and he's starting to realise he can tag Eric Luca.
It's pretty cool, calm and collected there in the corner of Luca. They would be happy with his work in the first 3 rounds. He's dictated terms. He hasn't allowed Green to set himself to unload those big bombs that we know he's capable of landing with all 16 of his victories coming inside the distance. It's a shame we can't actually hear what the corner's saying.
I'd say it'd be in French anyway, so unless
oh, okay.
your French is okay.
No, mate, it's
But I'm sure they're saying to him, just keep doing what you're doing. Just watch his right hand and stay on top of him, because it's worked pretty well so far in the first 3 rounds. Quarter of the fight already gone. Eric Luca's dominated so far, but let's see if Danny can turn it around now in the 4th round.
Here we go for the 4th round of this WBC Interim Super Middleweight Championship bout. Danny Green from Australia in the black trunks versus Eric Luca of Canada, the local fighter.
Already the signs are on Eric Luca's face that he's scuffed up a little bit, so Danny Green has landed some of those jabs and right hands.
They're just pushing that left hand in the face of Green. Green hasn't lost his composure at all. For somebody who's only been fighting for 2 years and has only 17 fights, he hasn't panicked at all. Whereas a lot of fighters in this situation with that lack of experience may have started to panic.
He's starting to come on a bit too now, Danny. You see him starting to throw that right hand more often too. And eventually he's going to connect with a big one.
Nice jab there from Green. Green said that he was pacing himself to go the 12-round distance.
But he's got to dominate these 12 rounds. He can't just go the 12 rounds and finish fresh at the front. He's got to keep that jab going.
That was a beautiful doubling up there of the jab from Green, using his reach advantage, keeping Luca at bay. Nice work there from Green again. Well, it took him a couple of rounds to warm up, but you get the feeling in the later part of the previous round and into this round, Danny Green starting to let his hands go a little bit more.
He's starting to look a lot better in this 3rd and 4th round.
And a very clean fight.
You get the feeling that at any time Danny's going to drop that right hand on Eric Luca. He hasn't been able to do it yet with any great force, but there's a nice right hand from Danny.
And he's doing well, Green. He's up the tempo. Mixing it up well here too with Luca on the inside.
Oh, he
nice
locked him there with the left hook. That's his signature punch.
That's hurt him. Luca was stunned by that punch. That's the best punch of the fight so far for Danny Green.
And you can see Eric Luca's legs buckle under the weight of that big left hook from Danny Green. Throws a beautiful left hook.
And a hush comes over the crowd, apparently.
Yeah. He's got a terrific hook. He just turns it over from the elbow, and it's a great short punch, and that really hurt Eric Luca. But Luca coming back.
Coming back well there. And Green there backed against the ropes.
Well, what a fight this is. We knew it was going to be a war. They'd build it as frontal collision, and that's exactly what it's been right from the start.
Well, there's got to be some concern there for Eric Luca's eyes too, particularly that left eye of his. There's quite a nasty mouse forming. Let's go to a break.
The Hurstville Ritz Sports Bar, the Tabs official #1 sports bar in New South Wales, is the #1 sponsor of Australia's #1 super middleweight Danny Green. The Hurstville Ritz, with Translux betting screens, read ratings, stacks of computers, and the Ritz's massive 12-cube sports wall. Its atmosphere wrapped in technology. The Hurstville Ritz Sports Bar, 330 Forest Road, Hurstville, the official #1 tab in New South Wales.
Well, as we set ourselves for the 5th round on official scorecards, I got Luca ahead 39-37. Grantley, I gave him the first 3 rounds, but I thought Danny Green came on beautifully there in the 4th.
Yeah, that was Danny's best round. He really rocked Eric Luca there. He's getting the 3rd degree there from Jeff Fenech. Jeff would be very encouraged by what he just saw in the 4th round. And judging on that round, you get the feeling that Danny's going to start to break Eric Luca down. He hurt him with that left hook. He really shook him up. That was the best punch of the fight so far, landed by Danny Green in the 4th round. A beautiful little short left hook, and Jeff Fenech and Danny Green will be very much encouraged by that. Certainly Eric Luca was stunned by the ferocity of that punch. And Danny, you can see him growing in confidence already. He's the one throwing all the punches.
Yeah, he's starting to lead there with that right hand. And there it is again. And I think he's also honing in on that eye of Luca, which looks to mine to be very red indeed.
Well, he's obviously copped a couple of right hands on it for it to be closing up the way it is, Eric Luca. He knows he's in a fight, all right. Slow start by Danny, but he's started to come on very strong.
Just a picture of concentration in there, Danny Green.
Yes, you can see him loading up, waiting for that right hand.
I think I'd be trying to pull up my pants.
Good right hand by Danny,
yeah. Beautiful work there from Green, doubling up there with the right hand. And suddenly the hand speed that Lucas showed early in the fight is gone. He's not as encouraging on the inside. And Green is working his way into this fight beautifully.
Well, nothing saps the fighter of their confidence and their speed and their stamina as getting hit in the head by someone like Danny Green, and that's what's happened to Eric Luca in that 4th round. It's happened to him again in the 5th because Danny's growing confidence all the time. Luca's still coming on strong.
Look at there, the use of the head there on the inside.
But Danny does look very composed, doesn't he? His defence looks solid. Another good jab and right hand by Danny, and the uppercut. Good punches by Danny Green here. Have we seen the momentum of the fight starting to turn now?
An uppercut too. He's really opening up, Danny Green.
He doesn't want to get too overconfident though, Danny.
Hopefully he learnt that lesson in his last fight.
Yeah, because Luca, as we've seen, is always dangerous. Very professional fighter. Very ruthless fighter.
Still remaining here in the 5th. Danny Green coming on strong in the 4th and now here into the 5th.
Good jabs by Danny Green. That's the punch for him that's going to win this fight. That left hand.
Good work there from Green too on the inside.
I'm sure a very interested observer of this fight would be one Anthony Mundine, because Danny Green and Anthony Mundine in 2004 would be maybe the biggest fight ever staged in Australia.
Green really starting to let loose here in the 5th.
Ooh. Danny's really looking ominous now. This is the first time in the fight that he's really started to dictate the pace like that and force Eric Luca back.
Yeah, the tightness in Luca's attack has gone. Danny's composure is starting to go.
He's still dangerous, but Danny's coming on with some big shots in close.
And there's the bell ending the 5th. Another good round for the Australian fighter.
Good round for Danny Green. As we go back to Eric Luca's corner, he's looking a much more dejected man than he was a round or two ago. Let's see if we can hear Jeff Fenech in the corner. You see Danny coming on very strong in close.
There's a short left hand there from Luca, and there's the use of the head there from Luca on the
Eric Luca,
inside.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the referee warned him. Green had a good look at the referee.
He's done it before. He did it in the previous round too. He was using his head in close.
Setting ourselves for the 6th. You can hear Jeff Fenech there in the background, very impassioned in the corner is Jeff.
Yeah, he doesn't take things easy in the corner, does he? He's worked up. And then the corner of Eric Luca, Stefan LaRoche, his trainer, telling him to stay composed and keep pressing the fight, but that's easier said than done now against Danny Green, because Danny's got his range now, I feel.
He started the fight so tight, Luca. He looked extremely tight and composed. But since then, Danny Green has been able to work his way into the fight. Behind the jab, there's another beautiful right hand there from Green. And he's really starting to find a home for that punch now.
He's coming into his own now, Danny. He's gained a great deal in confidence. He's moving around in a much more relaxed fashion. The jab's coming much more freely. He's doing a good job in there now.
And Luca not as forthcoming with the offence as we saw earlier. He was initiating a lot of the action.
Another good right hand and a jab by Danny Green. So Eric Luca is sampling Danny's power and he's not enjoying it. That's why his attack has been stifled. Because you know if he comes in, he's going to cop some big ones.
Well, we said the jab would be important for Green, and it has been since round number 3.
Another right hand by Danny in close. He's doing a good job, Danny, and he's not staying there to be hit this time. In the first couple of rounds, he let Eric Luca trap him on the ropes and outwork him, but his legs are working very, very well now. Good jabs again by Danny. Good right hand over the top and again by Danny Green. Not much coming back from Eric Luca, though.
Well, you can tell Luca's now dropping that left, so he's leaving himself right open for that counter right hand from Green, and that is his money punch, Danny Green, the right hand. He's powerful in both hands, but I think particularly the right.
It's such a dangerous punch, a long-range right hand. Throws a very good hook too, that short hook, and that's what he's shaken up Eric Luca with in that round 4.
Good work there from Green, doubling up with the right hand. Stopped Luca in his tracks. And the Canadian just not able to do anything on the outside or the inside at the moment. Perhaps he's trying to weather the storm, feels that he can come on in the later rounds. But he doesn't want to swallow too much of those power right hands, or he won't be seeing the later rounds.
It's been another good round for Danny Green. Oh, good right hand again, right on the button. How many times has Eric Luca been caught coming in like that? And he looks hurt, Eric Luca.
Without
another right
He's
hand.
hurt along the rope.
Here we go. Danny Green pouring it on.
Danny Green onslaught. Luca trying to cover up, but still taking punches from Danny Green. Unsteady moments for the Canadian here in the 6th.
Great round for Danny Green, round number 6 here. Eric Luca hurt against the ropes. And again, Eric Luca rocking. He's hurt, he's going.
Very, very hurt. That right hand again. He's almost
Danny Green
down
all over him.
He'll take an 8 count here, Eric Luca. What a beautifully paced display this has been by Danny Green.
Danny just doesn't want to get carried away. He doesn't want to blow it here.
And it looks like the towel has come in.
They've thrown in the towel. The fight is over in the 6th round.
Scenes.
Extraordinary performance here by Danny Green. The fight's over. He wins by a TKO at the end of the 6th round. Look at the joy on the faces of Jeff Fenech, Angelo Hire, Danny Green now.
Well, the relief must be unbelievable for
What a
Danny
tremendous
Green.
performance. And Anthony Mundine, if you're watching, this is the man you've really got to beat to be crowned the best super middleweight in Australia, let alone the world.
Unbelievable. So I'm amazed that they threw the towel in so
well.
early.
He was, of course, they're much closer to the action there than we are here, and they could see his hurt. And look at the joy on the face of Jeff Fenech. His first world champ. He's now the WBC interim super middleweight champ, but for all intents and purposes, he's the top super middleweight in the WBC. He absolutely flogged Marcus Bayer, and this is the most comprehensively that Eric Luca has ever been beaten. He's fought Roy Jones Jr., he's fought Antoine Eccles, he's fought Omar Shaker, he's fought Fabrice Tiozzo in world title fights. No one has beaten Eric Luca in the fashion that Danny Green has just done it here in Montreal.
Well, he paced himself beautifully in this fight. The first 2 rounds, we were all worried.
Yes.
I must admit, I was very concerned in the first 2 rounds. And here is the closing moments of this WBC interim super middleweight championship battle. Danny Green stopping Eric Luca here in the 6th. His corner deciding that Luca had had enough.
What a performance by Danny Green.
In front of this crowd here, this stunned crowd here in Montreal, Canada.
Such a likeable, good guy outside the ring, but once he's in there, he is all business. He is a dead-set executioner in the ring. And he has just beaten one of the best fighters in Canada for a number of years, one of the best super middleweights in the world for at least 5 or 6 years, and Danny Green has just come out and iced him with a barrage of power shots.
Not for one moment did Danny Green lose his composure in those first 2 rounds. In the opening minute of the first round, he was stung. I believe he was stung by a short left hook.
Yep.
And that sort of changed him altogether for the next 2 rounds. But he's worked his way back into the fight, started to work behind the jab, which is what we expected. And he started to land that powerful right hand of his, and it's just been too much, the power of Danny Green.
What a performance. You could see that Eric Luca's corner knew that he was really badly hurt there. He's such a game guy, Eric Luca. He absorbs some tremendous shots in there. Look at that right hand to finish him there. And his corner knew that if he got back into the fight, he was just going to be a sitting duck for some more big right hands from such a tremendous puncher as Danny Green. And this fight is over, and maybe the career of Eric Luca has been finished here in front of 20,000 of his countrymen in Montreal. Maybe his career has been finished by this tremendous fighter from Australia.
The pressure on Danny Green in the build-up to this fight, because everybody had seen what happened in the Bayer fight. Everybody had said how badly he'd been ripped off in that fight. The pressure on him to do well in this fight, because if he'd lost this fight, the feeling of loss for him would have been absolutely massive.
Would have been monumental. We just saw Danny's wife Nina getting to the ring there with him. Absolute joy on her face, and there he kisses the face of his baby Chloe. Gives the sponsors a bit of a rap and his old friends, and there, what scenes of joy. We were just talking about Jeff Fenwick's DVD being released. Here's another chapter to it. You might have to do a remake now, Matt, at this part, because there's Jeff Fenwick's first world champion as a trainer. Danny Green, the WBC interim super middleweight champion, and there's big Steve Bowden, the former Newtown enforcer. What a moment for him too, down there at the Ritz Hotel in Hurstville. Not a bad pub either, the Ritz. And Steve Bowden, what a great supporter he's been for Danny Green. And Angelo Hyder in the corner. Great moment for all these guys. Angelo Hyder, who did so much work to put this fight together with Yvonne Michel, the promoter in Montreal. And what joy on the faces of these guys.
The thing about Danny Green too is he's such an exciting fighter. He's a fighter that appeals to all boxing fans. Yes. Not just the boxers, but the people in America. I mean, in America, he has the potential to become a superstar. If he was an American, he would already be a superstar.
Yes,
he's articulate, he's good looking, and he's got the skills to back it up. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with him now. I don't know whether we're going to get access to this interview. It doesn't look like it. No audio on this interview, but no doubt great disappointment for Eric Luca. This is basically the end, well, pretty much the end of his career. He's been fighting since 1991, been in the ring with the best super middleweights on the planet. And tonight, Danny Green, the youth of Danny Green and the power of Danny Green just proving too much.
I can actually speak French, Matt, and what he's saying is, what hit me? Where's that bus? Right now he's planning on filing a compo claim because he got knocked over by something. He's still not sure what really happened, but he was badly hurt.